I think that's when we will start simulating space. I don't know how far it is for humans to kind of go to space and be the one like mining this. And you need to kind of like build robotics, right? So this is where AI will start building robotics, synthesizing and computing, more space exploration. And
That's
then
true.
that's when we start sending like all these robots into space and we start simulating ourselves. And on top of that, right, it actually saves like Mother Earth, right, from taking out its minerals. And, we can preserve Earth and then,
Absolutely.
be responsible mining outer space, but using simulations.
Welcome to this particular episode of Building Useful Shit, where we basically dive into everything HumanAIx. Now, we recently saw the OddTech team unveil this particular initiative where we have a variety of different founding partners that are contributing to build out the decentralized AI space. Now, this particular series will be delving slightly deeper into each one of these founding partners. And in this particular episode, we have with us Beryl Li from the Yield Guild Games, basically a Web3 guild protocol. So, Beryl, thank you for coming on to the show. Happy to have you here. Excited to chat with you.
Thanks, Nick. Really excited to be here.
That's
Let's,
awesome.
let's hit
Look,
it.
before we actually dive deeper, I just wanted to sort of, ask you, how is YGG really contributing over here, and how you guys sort of getting involved and fitting into this broader ecosystem, really?
So we're providing human input. We have communities all over emerging markets. We have partners with a lot of other guilds as well. We specialize in markets in the Philippines, emerging markets like Southeast Asia, Latin America, India as well, Turkey. Yes, and we're really excited bringing them on to take part with economic opportunities for them.
Beryl, when it comes to AI, I mean, back in 2023, 2024, we saw a lot of different, GameFi projects that, where we saw the collaboration or the hybrid between gaming and AI take place. I guess my question over here is, tell us what decentralized AI could sort of do for gaming, and what would that sort of look like in the near future? Has that already been envisioned yet?
Yes, in very different parts, right? So AI, they've actually been using AI a lot as a companion for a lot of gamers. So that actually increases their likelihood of success when they're playing games, right? You have AI, like AI companions telling them, "Oh, shoot here, left, right, right," and they actually end up winning an esports tournament because of that. So we're seeing a lot of that. So that is on the gaming side. And then there is a part where they actually bring in more content with like content creators. So within Web3 gaming, we actually encourage a lot of our community members to create these assets, right? Which they actually own.
Wow.
And with AI, with generative AI, they're able to actually create assets so quickly, right? And
That's
with
true.
Web3, they're able to kind of push it out in the market. And then here comes the third one, which is particularly for YGG's community. There's a lot of opportunities with AI data labeling, right? And the need for reinforcing AI. And we're able to really, source, community source, right? Outsource that input, right? And really get feedback from all over the world, and not just, for example, clinical trials, right? You don't just do clinical trials in the West, but because of the centralized AI, you're able to reach clinical trials from all over, like the provinces from the Philippines or from Latin America, like Colombia, right? And that makes it much more global in a way, and much more inclusive.
You know what, Beryl, when it comes to decentralized gaming or just GameFi in general, I think more than anyone, this, that one of the highlights is the fact that you get rewarded for, simply participating. One of the standout features for decentralized AI, on the other hand, is very similar. It's that reward system where, you provide your data and you get rewarded for it. Is there some sort of rewarding system that HumanAIx is currently looking at or setting up at the moment that you would possibly know of?
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying this out as well within the community within YGG.
Wow.
So we have data labelers from the Philippines. They spend their time and hours, and depends on how deep they know the subject, and they get paid for it, right?
Right.
And this is also true for some of the partners that we've collaborated with. So, for example, for wearables,
Mm.
you know that wearables actually collect your data, right?
That's
And
true.
a centralized company actually makes sense of it, and then they actually
Hmm.
sell it to third parties.
Yeah.
And it's part of the agreement. If you actually buy like a ring or like a band, right?
It's in the small
It's
print.
part of it, right? Like you have to accept the terms and conditions,
Yeah.
and that's what's happening. But what Web3 AI, decentralized AI, is doing is you own your data. I actually
Right.
provide my data. I can
Hmm.
actually like mint it as an NFT,
Hmm.
or tokenize it, and I can choose whom I actually sell it
Hmm.
to, what I want them to do with my data, right? So,
Hmm.
for example, if it's contributing to find therapies, right, for certain diseases, right, or
Hmm.
increasing your health span, lifespan, right, I am
Hmm.
happy to contribute, and I get paid for it.
Right.
So I own my data. I get paid for whatever I choose to do with it. That is decentralized AI.
That's awesome to know. And excited to see what HumanAIx overall has, once they've completely built out, and, how the founding members in general have contributed to that. Um, Look, Beryl, I want to slightly deviate over here
Mhm.
into a little bit more pro AI. Um, and ask you, I was reading this question, or rather this debate over, open and closed source AI. And, the one sort of justification by a lot of these tech giants they give for being closed source is the fact that they're sort of protecting humanity from misuse and basically ethical usage.
Mhm.
I guess my question here is the very fact that HumanAIx is open source and heading in that direction. How do you guys sort of combat safety since decentralized AI, like I mentioned, is open source? Or is that even a discussion being had right now?
This is a very important discussion to be had, right?
Yeah.
Especially with all parties trying to work with AI. So it
Hmm.
really depends on the architect, right?
Hmm.
So there are two things. I can actually use AI to actually build technology to replace humans entirely, very fast, right? Which, a lot of builders are intending to do, right?
Yeah.
Because it makes it so much faster, cheaper, right? Less human error, right? I think that
Hmm.
is the intention. But
Right.
if we're responsible, we actually build AI right now to be a companion to augment humans, right, with what they do.
Hmm.
And like for example, what I mentioned earlier, like with gaming, you have an AI companion telling you, hey, look left, right, shoot right, right.
Yeah.
And that also happens within, for example, in medicine, right? Like we're gonna be seeing AI companions augmenting doctors, right? Like
Hmm.
there's already a shortage of medical professionals, right? And
That's correct.
what we want AI to do is to work alongside them so that they can actually do their job with a high accuracy and speed. By telling them, reminding them, hey, have you actually checked this, right? You forgot to actually ask for this person's blood sugar levels or blood pressure, right? You forgot about that. So you have like this AI telling you. So back to your question, right? Is the responsibility of builders on how they actually architect the technology. So
Hmm.
that's one. The second one is this is where a lot of like government bodies will have to be involved. And if we actually start self-regulating ourselves, right? So for example, with HumanAIx, this could be a discussion amongst ourselves and um, how do we do this, right? What if cyber hacks happen? What about the data that we store on the cloud? How do we deal with that, right? How do we
Hmm.
secure people's data? How do we, there's so many questions around. I think the biggest threat right now is privacy, right? Especially in today's world. How do we protect that, right?
Hmm.
There's so many questions around it, and I think we need to have those conversations now rather than later, just because technology, just there's a lot of engineers like building right now and thinking about what can my product do versus the responsibility, right? Our responsibility as builders and innovators in the space. There's a lot like going on, and this is why HumanAIx is this collaborative initiative is important because you get to brainstorm ideas and ask really important questions, right?
Hmm.
For society, for what we build for the future.
No, that's awesome. In fact, another thing that I keep thinking of these days is when thinking about decentralized AI in general. I mean, we've only seen very recently that AI in general, and we know it's been around for a couple of decades now, but it's only the last 3 years that it's really popped off with, ChatGPT, and it just blew up, since 2022 till today. I guess my question here is, could we see, decentralized AI sort of follow a similar trajectory in terms of helping humanity, so to speak, in some way or form through HumanAIx in this particular scenario?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. We could conquer space. We could actually, if we conquer space, then we don't have to kind of destroy Mother Nature and Earth,
That's
right?
so
When we
true.
actually mine nickel, copper, or all these valuable minerals, like,
Yep.
for example, iron ore, right, to build our bridges and um, so on and so forth. Yeah, and you can just take them out from outer space. Um,
Wow.
I think we will advance our research in longevity, right? How do we actually increase our health span and our lifespan? Like through all these clinical trials, right? So I think we're, in the past, people actually, passed away in their 30s and the 70s,
Hmm.
right? Now we're going to be seeing life go longer than, like, for example, in our generation, that's probably 100, 120 years, right? Old, right? And maybe the next generation might live to 200 and so on and so forth. We don't know. But this is where all these technologies can come in and benefit us in humanity, right? So yeah, medicine, space exploration,
Wow.
and like automation in our daily lives, right? I think automation in our daily lives will happen in the next like 30 years. Right now, right, we're trying to automate I don't know, like um EV, like self-driving cars, or
Hmm.
how we work our tasks, right? Like
True.
no code products, right?
That's so true.
So,
And you see a lot of these
so many
applications
things
all over the
happening.
place right now. And I like the fact that that sounds very Elon Musk type stuff. I love it. Especially when it comes to the whole space exploration, side of things. It's exciting to see how, decentralized AI can at some point in time contribute in that area.
Absolutely.
Very interesting to think about. Look, I'm going to slightly deviate over here and talk about the markets just a little bit, primarily because gaming has been such a massive portion of every single DGen's life over these last 3 years, and we saw GameFi really pop off in 2023. It was sort of relevant in 2024, and towards the end of
Mhm.
it, a lot of different narratives have just died out. Could you potentially see, some sort of recovery for gaming in general, or gaming and AI? What are your thoughts on that?
So I always believe in the saying that history repeats itself, but just
Hmm.
in a different form, in a different
Okay.
format, in a different face, right? So uh, it's gaming is human nature, right? Like
Hmm.
we game ever since our forefathers were actually born. Yeah, this is how they barter and they trade,
Hmm.
and people have to take risks. People have to um they like excitement, right?
That's
From
true.
from physical games, like for kids, they like playing jackstones to, I don't know, like from the idea of playing poker, right? From playing yeah, like games like World of Warcraft, the excitement,
That's
right?
true.
um we actually go to, like where all the arcades, right? Like
Hmm.
as like teenagers or kids, right? And we have absolute fun. Like it's part of us. We love playing games, right? So I think games are there to stay.
Yeah.
But then with Web3 gaming, right? It might be in a different form. Again, play to earn and Axie Gaming was like first generation of like play to earn games, right? Like
Yeah.
Web3 games. And it's good. We saw it. We know what the blockchain can do within gaming, and there's a lot to learn from it, right? We've seen community members playing because they want to earn, right? That's just the excitement from it, right? The ability to grow their assets, right? Multiply them, the ability to be able to earn yield and rewards, right? It's
Hmm.
fascinating. That's what we all want, right? But then we need to figure out models that are more sustainable within gaming and move towards, I don't know, a different form, right? And so, yeah, so back to your question, gaming is here to stay, right? But it might be in a different form. And I don't know what that form is. Nobody knows, right?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that because I remember back in 2022, 2021, where, NFTs was such a massive portion of,
Yeah.
most of our lives. It died out in a way where we all were like, you know what, it's never going to recover, this, that, and the other.
Hmm.
But it came back just in a different form and different usage. May not have been as popular as it was back in 2021, but
Yeah.
it's around. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like
I was
that.
gonna say that people move to meme coins. But no, well, yeah, like again, history repeats itself, but just in a different form, and people just gamified meme coin trading,
Yeah, that's
right? Like,
true. That's true. All right, final question for you, Beryl. Let's get a little crazy for a second. Let's think of the wildest, most insane, out of this world sort of AI powered game that doesn't exist today. What could you potentially imagine that could be real thanks to decentralized AI?
okay, I don't know how far in the future, but I'll tell you what I'm kind of like
All right.
thinking. So let's just say there's optimization with nuclear plants, that produce a lot of these that can help produce computing power. And then,
Mm-hmm.
of course, I think I've heard that Microsoft just launched like a million qubits chips. So
Yeah.
supercomputing will start existing. Therefore, it's so easy to start synthesizing all these AI models, right? I think that's when we will start simulating space.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know how far it is for humans to kind of go to space and be the one like mining this. And you need to kind of like build robotics, right? So this
Mm-hmm.
is where AI will start building robotics, synthesizing and computing, more space exploration. And
That's
then
true.
that's when we start sending like all these robots into space and
Mm-hmm.
we start simulating ourselves, right? Simulating through games. And this is where AI can start building games that are meant for space simulation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can gamify that experience. That's the point of gaming. You gamify real world experiences so that it becomes ultra exciting, right? And mind blowing. And this is what we can do. And on top of that, right, it actually saves like Mother Earth, right, from yeah, taking out its minerals, and we can preserve Earth, and then
Absolutely.
well, be responsible mining outer space, but using simulations. So we've been doing this already with Throw the Bots, where a lot of the
Right.
community members start um, roaming. We call it the Earth Rover Challenge, right? And you have these robots that kind of like map out side streets, kind of like a Tesla, but sorry, yeah, what Tesla's doing, right? Mapping
Mm-hmm.
out like the road. They're doing it, but with robots, right? And
Wow.
people in the Philippines are actually just are the ones maneuvering all these robots and mapping everything. And so I actually think that that's going to happen, but
Mm-hmm.
space. Yeah.
That's insane. But thank you so much for that, Beryl. Really enjoyed speaking with you and just understanding your
Mhm.
overall insight into, how YGG is contributing to HumanAIx. Really looking forward to seeing how this builds out overall in the next, let's say, next 12 months. But so happy to have had you on the show today and just heard all that you had to say. If you guys enjoyed this as well, do make sure to like, share, subscribe. Do make sure to tune in consistently into this particular series to get a little bit about what most of these founding partners are talking about. And as usual, I'll see you guys in our next video.